When you think of, incredible long-distance journeys, animal endurance, your mind probably jumps to races like the Iditarod, right?
Yeah, that's the famous one.
Exactly. But what if I told you there's this even more impressive journey, almost a slow-motion race through time that's been going on for thousands of years?
Intriguing.
We're about to do a deep dive into the story of an ancient breed, really a living fossil, and its genetics. Well, they're so rich, they're actually helping us rewrite parts of human history.
That's right. Today, we're talking about the Greenland sled dog. Qimmeq is the singular. Qimmit is plural in Greenlandic.
Qimmeq, got it.
And these aren't just old dogs. They might be the oldest actual breed on Earth. Their history goes back, well, an incredible 9,500 years.
9,500.
Yeah, back to Zhukov Island, eastern Siberia. And what's really amazing is for about the last 1,000 years, they've been this distinct, isolated group, genetically very pure.
Wow. So our mission here in this deep dive is to follow these genetic breadcrumbs, right? See what they tell us. And it's not just the dog's story. It's how they're kind of forcing us to rethink human migration, ancient settlements, and even how we protect these animals today. They're culturally vital. Prepare to hear how these, silent companions are suddenly speaking volumes about our own hidden past.
It's a fascinating link.
So to really get the Greenland sled dog, we need to trace this lineage. It goes back millennia, and it centers on dogs that are fundamentally working animals.
Absolutely key.
Looking at their history, it's clear these aren't, pampered house pets in the way we think of them now. They've been survival partners, forged by the Arctic.
Right.
What is it about their job, their purpose, that's kept their genetic line so incredibly distinct for so long?
That's a really crucial point. What makes the Qimmit stand out from, say, Alaskan Huskies or Malamutes is that unique history and their very consistent role.
Okay.
While other Arctic breeds often mixed with different dogs or became pets.
Yeah, you see Huskies everywhere now.
Exactly. But Qimmit, they've stayed almost exclusively bred by mushers. Their main job for over 1,000 years has been pulling sleds, transportation, hunting assistance.
Just that. For a millennia.
Pretty much. Same tasks, same people, same harsh environment, year after year. That intense focus, it created this unparalleled genetic purity.
And that consistency, that long partnership, that's what makes their DNA such a powerful tool for understanding us, isn't it?
Precisely.
This isn't just, stories passed down. This comes from some really groundbreaking science. We're talking about a new study just published July 10th in Science.
That's the one, led by paleogeneticist Tatiana Fearborn and her team.
And for our listeners, a paleogeneticist studies ancient DNA from fossils, archaeological finds, trying to understand past life.
Right. And the approach they took for this study was incredibly thorough.
How so?
They sequenced 92 whole dog genomes, and the samples came from all over. Ancient bones from museums, archaeological digs.
Wow.
Even fur that was preserved in traditional Inuit clothing.
No kidding. Fur.
Yep. Plus 63 modern samples. Greenlandic mushers actually provided cheek swabs and saliva from their own dogs. Really collaborative.
That's fantastic.
Then they carefully sorted the DNA into 3 time periods. Before European contact, then post-contact up to 1998, and finally post-1998 to today.
Okay, so comparing across time.
Exactly. And they compared all that data with other ancient and modern dogs, wolves, even black-backed jackals, just to trace the whole genetic journey.
But the real magic here, it seems, is how these dogs became like living history books.
You could say that, yeah.
Their genetics don't just tell their story. They give us this powerful, maybe overlooked view into human migrations across the Arctic. How do the Qimmit genes actually, light the way for human movements?
What's fascinating, they're really consistent genetics. They act almost like a biological compass.
A compass, okay.
Scientists could trace their journey with people from Siberia, across the Arctic ice, into Alaska, then across the Canadian Arctic, and finally landing in northwest Greenland.
Following the humans.
Right alongside them. And the really strong genetic similarity between the Qimmit and ancient dogs from Alaska and Canada. That suggests the Inuit spread across the North American Arctic happened incredibly fast.
How fast are we talking?
Maybe just 1 or 2 centuries. Really rapid. And then the Greenland sled dogs became relatively isolated on the island.
Okay, and here's where it gets really interesting for human history buffs. Based on these dog genes, the Inuit might have arrived in Greenland between 800 and 1,200 years ago.
That's the finding.
That's potentially centuries earlier than most previous estimates.
Exactly. It's a significant shift.
So it's not just tweaking a date, it's like fundamentally reordering how we picture people moving into the Arctic. It feels like the dogs are telling us, hey, check your history book.
Precisely. This is really significant. I mean, there are archaeological hints of an earlier arrival, but this study gives us some of the first solid, quantifiable genetic evidence. It absolutely could shift that whole narrative about who got there first, the Inuit or the Norse Vikings. It pushes the Inuit arrival earlier, potentially, gives us a clearer picture.
So beyond just getting to Greenland, what does the dog DNA tell us about how people moved within Greenland itself? Did different groups mix much, or did they tend to stick to their own areas?
Yeah, that's another key finding. The oldest dog genomes found in Greenland. They split very cleanly into 4 distinct regional groups.
4 groups.
Northern, western, eastern, and northeastern populations. And this pattern, it perfectly mirrors what we see in human DNA results from Greenland.
Interesting. So the dogs reflect the human patterns.
Strongly supports the idea that after the initial settlement, different Inuit groups didn't mix extensively. They largely stayed in their own distinct regions.
Okay.
The genetics also suggest that movement branched out from that first northern settlement point, kind of clockwise and counterclockwise, maybe in 2 waves.
2 waves. Wow. And the study also uncovered something pretty poignant, didn't it? From the northeastern region. Tell us about that community, the one we knew so little about before.
Yes, the dog DNA from that specific region, it painted a really stark picture. It showed the struggles these isolated human groups faced.
Oh, so through the dogs.
Yeah, the levels of dog inbreeding, big drops in their genetic diversity, estimates of how small the dog population got over time. It all points to the people there likely facing severe famine.
Wow.
They just couldn't keep robust sled dog numbers going. It shows how incredibly tied their fates were. The people and the dogs.
That's powerful.
And what's more, other known historical events show up in the dog DNA too. Elsewhere in Greenland, documented famines, a canine distemper outbreak, a rabies outbreak. You can see the echoes in the dog genetics, like a living historical record.
Like scars in their DNA. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. There's this long-held belief in Greenland, right, that mushers would purposefully breed their dogs with local wolves.
Yes, that idea has been around a long time.
Right. To, boost the pack's health, make them stronger, more vigorous. It sounds logical, maybe. But what did this big genetic study actually find?
Well, this was one of the big surprises. Despite those historical accounts and people saying they tried to do it, the study found very little genetic evidence that Qimmeq are any more closely related to wolves than other sled dog breeds are.
Really? That seems counterintuitive.
It was definitely unexpected for the researchers.
So if mushers were actively trying to crossbreed with wolves, why wouldn't it show up more in the genes? Is it just wolves don't make good sled dogs?
You've basically hit it. It comes down to selection, intense selection.
Okay.
Qimmeq are under enormous pressure to be good team players, first off, willing to work with humans. They need incredible endurance, extreme cold tolerance.
Right, the Arctic demands.
And they have to thrive on a very specific diet, mostly meat and blubber. High fat, high protein.
Not just any kibble.
Yeah, definitely not. So if a wolf-dog hybrid couldn't pull its weight, literally, if it wasn't cooperative or couldn't handle the cold or couldn't process that diet efficiently.
Wouldn't be kept around.
Exactly. It just wouldn't be maintained in the breeding population long term.
Yeah.
Now, they did add a caveat. Maybe the sample size wasn't huge enough to catch every trace of wolf mixing.
Sure.
But the overall picture is clear. The job requirements and the environment exerted this powerful filtering effect. Wolf traits often weren't advantageous for that specific role.
Fascinating. Okay, let's pivot now to the present day. Because while their past is incredible, the Qimmeq are facing some pretty serious challenges now.
They are, unfortunately.
Their numbers have dropped significantly. You said from about 25,000 in 2002 down to around 13,000 in 2020.
That's right. A steep decline in less than 20 years.
Why is that happening? What are the pressures?
It's a mix of things. Modern technology, for one. Snowmobiles are faster, obviously.
The iron dog.
Right. Plus, general lifestyle changes among Greenlandic people. And critically, climate change. It's affecting the sea ice, which is their highway, basically, for travel, for hunting.
That's a huge factor. But are they truly outdated? I mean, I've heard people say, unlike a snowmobile, a sled dog isn't going to break down miles from anywhere, and it won't run out of gas. There's a reliability there.
That's a very powerful point.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely true. Sled dogs are still essential in many parts of Greenland's vast roadless areas.
Still essential.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Think about hunting. A snowmobile can't smell a seal under the ice, can it?
Good point.
Or a polar bear. And they can't travel quietly enough to avoid scaring off prey. Sled dogs can do all that. They are in many ways still the optimum resource for those specific tasks, perfectly adapted.
So, still incredibly useful, but it's more than just utility, isn't it? Losing them. That's losing part of the culture itself.
Absolutely. They hold such an important cultural place. They are living markers of heritage, of history for the Greenlandic Inuit. Their disappearance would be a massive loss, far beyond just, a mode of transport.
Given these population drops, is there a worry about their genetic health? Like, are they becoming dangerously inbred? Does this study offer any hope or direction for conservation?
Well, here's another really interesting part of the study. Despite the falling numbers, genetically, Qimmit are, quote, actually really healthy dogs.
Healthy, even with fewer numbers.
Surprisingly, yes.
Ugh.
They have remarkably low levels of European dog ancestry. The geneticists measure this using something called an F4 admixture ratio, and for Qimmit, it's super low, very little outside mixing.
So they've kept that purity.
Very much so,
Yeah.
which is quite different from the human Greenlandic population, actually, which shows much higher European ancestry.
Why the difference?
Partly successful policies in Greenland that restrict importing other dog breeds, they've actively protected the Qimmit line. And even though small populations can lead to worries about inbreeding, you see these things called runs of homozygosity,
Yeah.
stretches of identical DNA.
Right, signs of shared ancestry.
Yeah. But even with those, the intense natural selection and the artificial selection by mushers seems to have, paradoxically, shaped a really healthy, resilient population overall.
So the harshness actually made them stronger, genetically.
In a way, yes. It weeded out detrimental mutations effectively. They even saw examples like after a famine in Tunu, urbanization actually helped genetic diversity or heterozygosity rebound.
Yeah.
But you also see the hits like a distemper epidemic in Qimmeq in '88 clearly decreased heterozygosity there.
So the genes tell the story of the challenges and the resilience.
Exactly. It's complex, but ultimately gives some hope for conservation. They're starting from a relatively strong genetic base, despite the numbers.
This whole deep dive, it's really unveiled this profound link, hasn't it, between the Qimmeq and human history, from ancient Arctic migrations right up to, modern cultural survival.
It really has.
It's an incredible story of partnership, of co-survival. These dogs didn't just pull sleds, they guided us across the ice, and now they're guiding us through our own hidden past.
Indeed. Dogs were the first domesticated animal. They've been tied to human history from the very beginning,
Right there with us.
at the formation of basically every human society. And in Greenland,
Mhm.
these dogs have been there all along. Their story is completely interwoven with the human story there.
So preserving them.
Being able to preserve that cultural history alongside the genetic history, it's just incredibly important. It has immense cultural value.
They've walked with us through the ice for, potentially 10,000 years, shaping our journeys, preserving our past and their genes.
An amazing thought.
Let's make sure they keep walking with us, and maybe it makes you think. What other hidden stories, what other deep connections between species, between cultures are just waiting out there, waiting for science to help us understand their quiet, powerful language? Something for you to mull over.